New Zealand church group stranded in Israel, nurses pay rise frustration, and sinkhole repairs continue in Auckland. Kia ora, I'm Wilhelmina Shrimpton and these are your latest NZ Herald headlines. A New Zealand church group stuck in Israel is trying to keep its spirits up. The group of 44 was in Jerusalem when the surprise Hamas attack hit. It had been part of a pilgrimage. The group is trying to contact MFAT and the New Zealand Embassy in Turkey. Connection City Church Assemblies of God member pears says they're doing all they can to cope.
Just trying to talk to family, listen to loved ones, trying to just stick together and listening to our tour guides and our tour leaders, what the next point of action is going to be.
Meanwhile, escalation of Israel's retaliation isn't expected to slow down anytime soon. More than 900 people in Israel have died since Hamas launched the surprise attack, while almost 700 have died in retaliatory attacks in Gaza. Otago University's senior lecturer Leon Goldsmith says the missiles heading back will no doubt catch civilian targets. But Goldsmith says there's no indication the counterattacks will cease.
There's not much mood within this current Israeli government for negotiations. I think they're going to move on the ground into the strip in force.
A union says nurses are sick and tired of Te Whatu order mucking around, with up to 10,000 yet to receive promised pay rises. The agency agreed to implement an equity deal struck in July by September 27. But Auckland, Waitemata counties Manukau and Nelson nurses are still waiting. Te Whatu order is putting it down to pressure on payroll staff and says almost all payments should be completed by Christmas. Nurses Organisation Chief Executive Paul Golter says this was meant to address long-standing gender discrimination.
To have at the last moment the employer continue to still fail to meet its obligations, our members have just basically had enough of it.
National is being called on to cut red tape if it wants to hit trade growth targets. The party is campaigning on a pledge to double the value of exports within 10 years by pursuing free trade agreements and focusing on India. NZ Apples and Pears says the party will need to change the Environmental Protection Authority if it wants better returns for growers. Chief Executive Karen Morrish says barriers make it hard to meet overseas market requirements.
We can't use the new softer chemistries that we would perhaps like to because it can't get into the country.
Watercare says it's making steady progress towards stopping sewage flowing into the Waitemata harbour. A massive sinkhole clogged up a major Auckland sewer last month in Parnell, letting wastewater spray into the sea. Watercare is working on a bypass pump to take wastewater from manholes either side of the sinkhole. It says it's tracking to have the bypass in place by next Tuesday. Aucklanders are still being asked not to swim, fish or engage in recreational activities in the inner harbour. And those are the latest NZ Herald headlines. For more news worth knowing, head to nzherald.co.nz.
Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. To stay up to date with all the latest news from the New Zealand Herald, click the subscribe button below or check out one of the videos here. And head over to nzherald.co.nz for more details on these stories and more.